Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings be upon everyone. Welcome to another special episode of The Scholar and the Student, right here from the heart of Palapye in Palapye Islamic Center. We always say it's a very special episode because that's true. Every episode is special. If you knew what we went through just to get to this stage, to start recording this episode, and if you felt the pain and the blood and the sweat that we shed to get to this stage, you would have understood how special this episode is. But it's even more special because we have another guest in this very auspicious studio today. Please put your hands together for Odirile.
Thank you for having me on this show. As said, I'm Odirile Mothoyomotona, an entrepreneur, first year economics student at Baisaro. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Welcome to the show, man. And there are so many reasons why I brought you on today. We've known each other, how long has it been? Like about a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere there. He used to be a little kid. I was kind of the teacher, a DWB. Well, I was the adjudicator. They kind of hated me because I was very harsh with them when it came to adjudicating debates, but that's just how I am, man. But yeah, he's finished with high school now, so yeah, DW guys, we're not breaking any protocol over here. We're not interacting with students. He's kind of on our level now. So, you just finished at Lotsane Senior Secondary just this November, December that passed. That season is when you graduated. And the reason why I brought you on today is because we wanted to get an insight on how exactly can someone spend their time productively, effectively in that transition phase from high school to university productively, because you're not just sitting at home doing nothing. It's a Saturday afternoon right now. That's why you were able to come. Otherwise, you're not that easy to get a hold of as far as I understand. So to start off with, give us a bit about yourself and then transition to this, that how you got to where you are now and what are your plans until like August or whatever, that when university properly starts.
Okay, first of all, he's a strict adjudicator. I just had to put that one out before I continue. He's a strict adjudicator, and we didn't hate him. In fact, we did love him a bit. Quote that, a bit. Not that much, a bit. But he was strict. Okay, life after school, right? To be honest, the transition is never easy, especially when you don't know what to expect in society. In most cases, people say life in society is good. You're now man of the family, head of the family. But to be honest, that's like the most difficult part of it all. How do you head the family when you don't even understand what goes on in society? And to be honest, I had a hard time now. After I closed, I had a hard time really, because I had big plans. I had plans, like real big plans. What I'm supposed to do November, December, January. Every month was planned for. Like everything was legit. Up until I did join society now, everything did change there. It's quite funny how I did change a few plans along the way. I mean, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So it's an entrepreneur's job to adapt to change. And I did adapt to that change. Now, my main focus has always been and will always be the entertainment industry of Botswana, because I feel like we need more. I feel like we need to do more with the entertainment industry of Botswana, because looking at the current status, the current situation, we don't really have an entertainment industry in Botswana. It's pretty sad that you can tell your parents that I want to be a rapper, I want to be a musician, or I want to be an actor in our country. So it's time we change that. I feel like that. Those are my feelings. That's what keeps me pushing each and every day to change the entertainment sector of Botswana. Which is why, if I may say, if I'm not speaking out of 10, we're having a few different projects that are not really based on giving us any monetary gains, but just projects that would consider giving back to the community. Just recently we had a live session. I don't know if you saw the item on my status, but we did have a live session recently. It was held at Gamers Academy, where we invited poets, rappers, the artisans in the industry. We did invite a few. It was actually a jump. It was nice. So we're looking into having projects like that, projects that unite the community. So that's what I'm about, the entertainment industry.
Excellent. So I can see that you have definitely a passion for the entertainment industry in particular, because it's just coming out whenever you speak about it. That passion is just ebbing through. But what response do you have, first and foremost, to those who say that entertainment is only for those who are brain dead? It is not as intensive on your brain as, for example, being a lawyer, being a doctor or whatever, because I'm pretty sure there are people out there who are just willing, they're sitting on that comment section of YouTube, that comment section, doing nothing with their lives, just waiting for someone to slip up on these videos like the ones we're recording now, and waiting to sink their teeth into everything that you've said. So to start off with, what response do you have to those people who say that, look, yes, you may be like inspiring other people, you may be expressing your creativity that way, but you're not doing anything that's sustainable. Entertainment is very wish-washy. It doesn't have consistency in that stand, because as an artist, as a, for example, a poet, as you mentioned, you can't just keep doing the same things and expect to stay relevant for 30 years down the line. And at the same time, you can't also do something like, as a playwright, I cannot just rip off Shakespeare and expect myself to succeed. In fact, that's probably the end of my career, and I've said this before on the other episode we had with Mr. Kleinans. So with this very competitive industry that at the same time is not very stimulating on the brain, why should we at all get into the entertainment industry to begin with?
You know, as I always say, life is about choices. In fact, it's not what I say, it's what most of the people out there would say. Life is about choices, really. So people choose the entertainment they want to receive, right? It's just a matter of you sieving through what you want. Because if I was to quote one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole, he says, American hypocrisy, they came here in search of freedom but ended up owning slaves. And that's like the most truest stuff that you'd ever come across. So it depends on who you listen to. It depends on the type of entertainment that you're allowing to come through to your playlist, to your whatever it is, to your YouTube downloads. It depends on choices. It's all a matter of choices. And I wouldn't really disagree with that. Entertainment today is really making people brain dead, because if you were to look at these current songs of Lil Uzi Vert, the Lils, in fact, all the Lils out there, they're just making people brain dead.
Shots fired.
It's not really shots, I'm just being honest. They're making people brain dead out there, because I feel like we need to have entertainment that's authentic. We need to have poets, rappers, musicians that actually touch the core of issues, if you understand what I mean. We need people that address situations that we're facing, not people that will be talking about flexing with their monies, their girlfriends, their glass houses. That's not entertainment. In fact, this is programming our minds to be stupid. Yeah, if I may say, to be brainwashed, like you're saying. So.
Oh, excellent. And to kind of carry on from this, I know there are a lot of Muslim people who always ask, what is this podcast about? And I'm repeating myself for the third time here. I should have put this disclaimer out at the beginning. My mistake for not doing it, but I give people heart attacks just by existing. So if you have been offended by anything that he just said, you have my full permission to go over there, have a heart attack and die. And I'm not going to pay your medical bill, so it's not like it really affects me anyway. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this, that you mentioned that a lot of popular entertainment today is just there to dumb people down. And the objection you'll get from a lot of Muslims is that the popular opinion, and I don't want to start this debate now, but the popular widespread opinion is that music is impermissible. So most Muslims, or devout Muslims, people who are trying to be practicing Muslims, will not listen to musical instruments of any kind, whether it has a good message or not. Okay, so for those people, we are not saying that you must go and start listening to musical instruments right here and right now. That is not the message behind this. You can even rewind to what he just said and how he has expressed his desire to up the game. It doesn't always have to be with music. Even poets who are spoken word, at least they should up their game and talk about things that are relevant to our society without it just being about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And yes, I said the S word, so what? I don't care. Drugs, sex, and rock and roll is not going to cut it for our generation, because we are getting more woke, as the term is, the popular term is, as much as it has been, appropriated by other people with other agendas. And I think that the takeaway, once again, as I've said countless times on this podcast, and I'll reiterate again today, we as Muslims, I'm speaking as a Muslim myself, who has for a very long time upheld that position of not going down with musical instruments. We have to grow a backbone. Just because my friend over here is talking about music himself doesn't mean that I'm going to go and start listening to music as soon as we're done with this. That's not how it works. We are able to take ideas from other people, decipher them, and then apply them in our own lives. So here our brother has expressed his desire to up the game and up the ante to see how we can actually have art, entertainment, which speaks to people on the everyday street, and at the same time also has a way of stimulating our brains. And if I can give examples from the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whom we as Muslims revere, we see that they, as the Arab society, they had basically refined the Arabic language to its pinnacle. Even today, when you're studying Arabic, you study conversational Arabic, which is if you want to go to an Arabic country, for example, and have a conversation with the waiter at the restaurant, that's one thing. But to study, for example, the Quran or study any of the pre-Islamic poets of Arabia, you have to study what is called Al-Arabiyatu Fusha, which is classical Arabic, which is something else entirely. And these companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, very much loved and indulged in poetry. And there was nothing wrong with indulging in poetry so long as that poetry wasn't calling openly to immorality, although of course scholars have gone into various discussions of what exactly immorality is, and I'm kind of rambling here. But the fact is that art was important to the society that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived in, and it was important to many of the great Islamic empires, be it the Persians, be it the Spaniards in Andalusia, be it the Mughals when they conquered Southeast Asia or wherever that was. All these people had elements of art because art is an important facet of our society. And I said this in my House Moving Castle review, that we have to get more creative and be able to express our frustrations. Well, not just our frustrations, other emotions as well. But coming to that, you know, if I look at myself and the type of entertainment I consume, yes, there are times when I want to be intellectually stimulated, but other times I will, for example, watch a cartoon which I know is absolutely ridiculous and makes zero sense, but it's funny. So that's why I will watch it, because I just had a bad day and I want to laugh at something. What's your take on this, if we can get to the next subject?
Okay, speaking of cartoons, it reminded me of a time when I was doing Form 3 in junior schools, Palapye Junior Secondary School. There was a time when they extended our study, right? So we got out of school at 5:30, and I was a Tom and Jerry fanatic that time. I really loved Tom and Jerry with all my heart, and I remember it played at 4 p.m., right? But our study knocked off at 5:30. At most times, being the president, I was actually the SRC president at that time. So being the president, having to lead by example, I was in like a moral dilemma there, having to go watch my favorite cartoon, my favorite anime of all times, or staying in school to study. Well, I guess you know the answer. I did bunk school and go watch my favorite anime. I did it all the time. But anyways, I'd advise you to go listen to good music though, because music varies. There's like music that you can listen to soothe your soul. There's music that you can listen to if you want to be intellectually stimulated, right? You should listen to music, Mr. Mostakim. It's a very nice aspect of life, because some of us actually get consoled by music, if you get what I mean. But on a different topic, to me, entertainment is not just about having to groom creatives and having to bring people out there. No, it's also a matter of opportunities. Because if you realize it, I was actually taken aback by the statistics I saw last time. We have close to about 325,000 unemployed people in Botswana. 325,000. In a mere population of 1.7 million people, we have 325,000. How amazing is that? So it's a matter of opportunities, right? If you go to South Africa, you'd see that there are a lot of talk shows, and basically there are a lot of shows that involve people, shows that hire crews, shows that actually bring employment to the people. And when you come to our country, the only shows that you can look at are those of BTV, where we have one person doing the same thing, or where we have Lefatshe le Tlotlo all the time. No pun intended, but I'm just being honest here. Sometimes we need to grow, we need to change, and sometimes I feel like our country is actually fighting that change. Well, it's upon us as the young people that are coming from in my generation to actually change that, which is why I'm so hell-bent on entertainment, because I feel like life is really about entertainment, because it's with entertainment that news are transferred to the people, information is given out, people get taught basically entertainment is the core of life. It's the backbone of life, like you would say. Entertainment is everything, which is why I have a very heartfelt position towards entertainment.
Oh, excellent. And okay, regarding what you said about music, I like the fact that you are actually clashing with me because you're the first person on the show to actually do that. So far, everyone has just been like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, they've been literally yes men to me. So I like the fact that we're actually having something of a debate, but I guess based on our background and our history together, that is something we could definitely fall back upon. But yeah, just okay, first of all, to touch on music, well, yeah, I guess you have highlighted some positive aspects of music, but as for the audience who may be listening who are not down with music, my point was that in the half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour of the podcast sessions that we record, I don't think it's realistically possible for someone to actually change their mindset and their outlook on life from being someone who doesn't listen to music or listens to music and then totally flipping around 360 degrees to make them someone who comes from the opposite camp altogether. Wait, I'll give it to you because I don't think that's a very productive endeavor for this podcast itself, because people are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. Whether I say it, whether he says it, whether the biggest imams say it on Friday there on the pulpit, if someone is hell-bent on doing something, they're going to do it anyway. And if they don't know who the hell I am, I'm just a guy for them who speaks on these things on the internet, then why on earth should they listen to me? No amount of emotional blackmail should be able to affect them. And if it does, then you need to really work on yourself to the point that you get resilient. But anyway, you mentioned positive aspects of music. From the scholars that I follow, I do follow some scholars who do permit music and they highlight the same things as you do. But I'm going to leave it, just close the chapter over there, at least from my side, because like I said, whoever's anti-music is going to stay anti-music by the end of this episode, and whoever's pro-music, being a Muslim, is still going to stay pro-music by the end of this episode. And yeah, we just pray to God that God guides us, but I don't think we have to be hell-bent and stuck in this corner over here. But now I want to come to everything else and address whatever else you were saying, which is basically you are talking about a sort of niche in Botswana, first of all, that is kind of unexploited. We see in places like South Africa, and I'll also admit something openly here, I've been watching a lot of videos of foreigners, as in non-Japanese people who live in Japan, and how they are making a living just by making videos of their lives on YouTube. Like, they upload it, and Japan, like many other countries in the world, unfortunately we don't have it in Botswana. So if someone here is working for the government, please go and do whatever it is you have to do so that we also have access to the YTP YouTube Partnership Program, so that we can also start monetizing our videos on YouTube, and then many creatives in Botswana will be able to make a living that way. Because in Japan, these people are just taking videos of themselves walking to school, biking to Hokkaido or something, or climbing Mount Fuji, which are things that I guess even we will do when we go to Japan as tourists. But these people are giving a unique aspect, because we know about Japan, we know about Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon, we know about all the anime, and because I stan them very much, I still watch Dragon Ball to this day, my favorite. But we don't know so much about what it is to be someone who is non-Japanese in a racially homogenous society. So these people are just showing their experiences, and they're able to entertain others, they're able to make us laugh, and they are able to make money from it at the same time. So if we are also able to indulge our creative juices to such an endeavor in Botswana, I think this is definitely, it's not going to take away all those 325,000 unemployed people. Obviously, some will, I guess this is just the nature of the game. Some will have to be left behind, unfortunately. But of course, it is our responsibility for those who do have wealth to try and uplift them. And this, I believe, is one of the ways that we're just simply trying to do it. That we are saying that people have the ability. There are some people who know how to write poetry. Some people know how to write books. Some people are very good. You see them getting top marks in the English classes in high school. But afterwards, in that transition period, they're not really doing anything with those English language skills that they've acquired. And sometimes they'll go into something completely unrelated, like going to study medicine or something, where of course you'll be speaking to people in English, you'll be speaking to your patients and telling them what is wrong with them, but they don't get to express their creativity and paint pictures with their words as they were taught to do in school. So I think that some of these skills that we acquire, definitely we should see how they can be monetized. Not all of them. If something is just done for fun, let it be, let it stay as a hobby. Otherwise, if you start doing it for money, what are you going to do for fun? That's always a dilemma that's always there. The dynamic always exists. But once again, I'm rambling. I guess I'm very excited today because you're here and that I finally got someone to debate with. But that being said, yeah, I think it's high time. And this kind of rebuts everything that we talked about initially about industries of entertainment being brain dead. Because if you really want to be relevant, you really have to put your mind to it and see how you can break the mold. Everyone's going that way, but how can you take the high road and come out on top and in front of them? How to do that is not easy. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of failure. But once you get there, you will enjoy yourself, and on top of that, you can make a quick buck. I hope I've given you something to work with.
Definitely more than something to work with. Okay, it's actually closing the topic, like you said. It's actually amazing how people don't listen to music. I actually never thought that there were people out there that don't listen to music, but I guess I'm getting schooled here, right? Wow, it's just amazing. People don't listen to music. That's nice. Anyways, see, speaking of the YouTube partnership programs, you see there's like a boom actually in local owned YouTube channels nowadays. Because if you were to go to Facebook, you'd see that a lot of young people out there are trying to start YouTube channels. Even if they don't have content, they're just trying to start YouTube channels. But that's nice, right? Because life is all about starting. As long as you start, you'll see where you're going after you start. But on that note, it's quite stupid because why would we want to have a YouTube channel if YouTube is not going to pay us, right? Which is very important that somebody out there, if you're working for the government, if you are the government or whoever you are, please let us bring this money back to Botswana because we deserve to get paid too for putting our content on YouTube.
We know you watch me anyway because I go to the mosque 5 times a day and I'm probably on your terrorist watch list or anything. At least watch this and open up the YouTube partnership program so that Botswana can get paid for being creative.
The stereotype in our country is real. Hey? But anyways, coming to the business side of everything, see, at the end of the day, we all want to make money out of entertainment, right? Like I said, tell the government to bring that YouTube money back. But anyways, see, what I'm trying to do in life is I'm trying to be different. Because in anything that I do, I always try to be different. Because last time we were having a creative session with my team at the studio there, we were talking about some program that we intend to start, more like One Day Leader from South Africa, but it's called Tomorrow's Leader Today in Botswana, right? So we're having a creative session there where we wanted to change the place. We wanted to get the place looking juicy, young, vibey, you get the drill. So I told them that whatever we do, we should just aim to be different. However we do it, we should just aim to be different. And our approach to this is what really matters. And the first approach is what counts because first impressions always last, right? But on that note, it would be nice if somebody out there did bring that YouTube money back because it would also motivate us to put that Tomorrow's Leader program out there. But on the program again, it's very nice if we were going to talk about it here now because I feel like it's a very wonderful platform where we get to bring young debaters, tomorrow's leaders today, as the name dictates, right? What do you think?
I think it's a very illustrious endeavor and something that everyone who has the opportunity should definitely jump on. And I'm going to put it out there as Muslims once again. I can say from experience as a Muslim, someone who was born as a Muslim and who has had various experiences with the faith. My first 12 or so years of my life, I was what we call a cultural Muslim, as in I went to mosque on Fridays because that's what my dad did and that's what everyone else in the house did. So when you're at that age, you just follow what everyone else is doing. When you get older, sometimes you drift away, but then when you understand exactly what was going on back there, then you come back and you enforce it with everything that you've already said. So I think that as Muslims in particular, because this is kind of, I don't know if you'd even call this a Muslim podcast, it's like hosted by a Muslim guy, yeah, but we're not here to preach and give sermons and that. Go somewhere else for that. I am someone, as you said, like you who thinks differently. And the session I recorded before this was Harry Potter and Islam. And I talked to a guy from the UK, Brother Salahuddin. He's got a page on Instagram called Adventures in Fashionistan, so I'm plugging him in here like as well. So Harry Potter and Islam is not something that you'd be hearing about, at least in Botswana. I've never heard of anyone speak about something like that on a Friday, giving a sermon about that. But we had an interesting discussion on that. So what I'm getting at, why I'm mentioning all this, is that as Muslims, we should also be able to open our minds, be familiar with different arguments, and be able to articulate our own viewpoints via these arguments and on these platforms such as this Today's Leader Tomorrow program and so on and so forth. From what I understand, it is very much in its infancy. I know a lot of Muslims have a lot to say about things such as feminism and rights of homosexuals and abortion and all that. And just so you know, it's not as black and white as you would like to think. There is actually a variety of opinion on some of these matters, such as abortion and all the... I'm not a scholar myself, but having studied under other scholars and actually going through the literature and seeing that these issues can be very nuanced and complex sometimes. So for you to just sit there in your house on that YouTube comment section just saying, yes, it is allowed, or no, it is not allowed, it's not as simple as that. There's an actual training that someone goes through before this. But definitely Muslims should jump on this and see how they can be more creative and be able to familiarize themselves with more creative arguments, because debate at the end of the day is basically formulating arguments from a creative angle, being able to not exactly outsmart your opponent, but take what he said and basically fling it back to him. And yeah, we've been going for almost half an hour now. I don't know about you, Brother Odirile, but I have grilled you a lot and you tried to grill me, but I'm the adjudicator. I am Colonel Roy Mustang, so I think I won. But leave it in the comment section down there about what you exactly thought about went down in regards to the music discussion. Yeah, there are plenty of people who don't listen to music, but that doesn't mean we don't listen to other things. But that topic is closed, okay? Well, let us not open that up too much, because I would need a proper scholar to help me and all that. But yeah, just so you know, once again, with music, I don't think it's productive for us to make a big deal about that on this podcast and coming up with, you know, things about why it should definitely be outlawed or why it definitely shouldn't be. I don't think this is the correct space for that. But if anyone is interested in seeing an episode such as that in the future, we can have an episode where I step away, but I just mediate a debate between two people who are qualified to have such a debate on why music is permissible or why it is not permissible, and we will take it from there. But of course, like I said, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. If they want to listen to music, they'll do it regardless of who says what, alright? So, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this discussion. I really enjoyed having someone here who is able to also think differently, think out of the box. Creativity is vital, and it's becoming even more vital by the day. And even in aspects where you would think that creativity is not essential. For example, once again in Japan, you can see I've been researching a lot about Japan here, right? I study law. Now in Japan, if I wanted to practice as a lawyer, I would have to prove that the customers I am going to attract are not customers of any other Japanese lawyer. In other words, I cannot take the clientele, the client base of any other lawyer who is a Japanese already. If I want to practice as a lawyer in Japan, I have to come up with something out of the blue, something completely new that no other Japanese lawyer has thought about doing in the past. Only then will they give me my permit to practice in Japan. So imagine that. You'd think that being a lawyer is just knowing the law and applying it to the case that comes before you, and there's creativity in that. But look at this, that even if I wanted to practice as a lawyer in Japan, I would really have to push myself to the pinnacles of my reasoning. I think that just illustrates how creativity is essential in today's day and age. Do you have some, shall I say, some parting words or parting questions or whatever it is, anything you want to say to our viewers out there?
Okay, I feel like Japan is really a good country. Seeing how my mentor is ranting about Japan, it must be a good country. But this is one of those instances where we say the student surpasses the teacher, because I feel like I did give you a run for your invite this time. Regardless of you being the adjudicator, I did give you a run. But anyways, yeah, like I said, the music discussion would actually be a nice one, and I'd love to be a part of it, because I never thought that there were some people out there that don't listen to music. It would be a good experience for me to get like a different perspective as to why people wouldn't listen to music, because for myself, I would die a day without music. I would die. Literally, I would die. Music is my life. But that's a closed chapter, right? My parting words, I would say to the Muslim community out there, like he said, don't let my views on music change you or change how you view entertainment. Because at the end of the day, it's about you and how you stand, your backbone, right? It's about you. Choices in life. It's about the choices you make, basically. My parting words, it was nice being here. It was a very interesting conversation. Yeah, it was a very interesting conversation. I'm even short of words right now. It was interesting. So I guess till next time, till the day we talk about music again, I have to come back for that one. Music is key.
Most definitely. So, in other words, we are plugging in future episodes right now, because this may be the first time you're seeing him on The Scholar and the Student, but it is definitely not the last. And I got to make him run out of words. I have done something right in life. I can now die peacefully. All right. So, people, a bit of a shorter episode today, similar to the first one, but it is very hot in Palapye right now, and we are not allowed to put on the fan because it is going to interfere with our musical equipment. Well, I just said music, so people are getting heart attacks again. But that being said, I hope you all learned something. I hope you learned to take a stand for your position on whatever it may be, and I hope you learned the importance of being creative, and I hope this inspired you to take your creativity to the edge and look at many different aspects of your life in a different light to see how you can hack them, how you can get in front of the crowd. It doesn't just have to be poetry or music or whatever else. It can just be your profession, such as law or medicine. Be able to apply your creative juices. And if that means making your children do puzzles, it may mean like having them draw, having them explore their artistic talents, or if it means you doing it yourself. Maybe you don't know that you can paint. Just get yourself a brush from one of these art shops in Palapye. Get yourself some paper. Do something. Make it your own product. Why are there rules for this? Go and express yourself. It'll calm your nerves. It'll calm yourself. Allow you to express your creativity. Take my word for it. You will be a better person. On top of that, you might just discover something that you're able to make money out of. So, once again, from the heart of Palapye Islamic Center, I'm your host Moss. This is my brother Odirile. Until next time, peace out. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.